The rise of phone-free shows, Taylor Swift's new Disney song, and what's behind Gen Z's obsession with horror movies. I'm Maggie Zhao.
And I'm Jasmine Wallace, and you're listening to Culture Club, where two writers and editors chat about pop culture, current affairs, the internet, and our lives.
Today, we're on the land of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nations.
We would like to pay our respects to elders past and present and extend that to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander listeners today.
It's a special day for Culture Club today. It is Jazz's 30th birthday.
30! Oh my gosh.
30.
I'm so relieved.
Thriving. Relieved.
I'm relieved.
Happy birthday, Jazzy.
Thank you so much.
Maybe I would even say, happy birthday to you. We actually have a little cupcake with a candle in the studio today. You can actually watch this on YouTube, by the way. Yeah, this video. And make your first wish of the year.
My 30th. What do I wish for? Oh my God, pressure.
Well, you can't tell us.
Thank you. This is so beautiful. Yay.
Yeah, it's like some ASMR, perhaps.
Yeah.
With the candle blowing.
The candle blow. Thank
Yay.
you. Oh my God, I feel so spoiled.
Of course, there's a little berry velvet
big birthday
cupcake. Little berry velvet cupcake that we got this morning. And
can't wait to have that later.
Yeah, that's something for later.
Leave that for later. No, thank you so much. I'm feeling so good today.
Yeah.
I haven't had any birthday blues yet, but I feel like being 29 was actually so hard.
Yeah.
In so many different ways. Yeah. Like I live a lovely life, but it was I just feel like there's so much pressure leading up to your 30th. It's like it's the end of the decade and like you're 30 and blah, blah, blah. And this morning I woke up and my sister called me and she was like, "Do you feel any different?" Lol, like kind of, you know, what that's just what you say. And I was like, I actually do. Yeah. I feel better. I feel lighter. I know it's like obviously a fun day and we've got a fun day planned after this. We're going for lunch and we're going to Sense of Self. Laurie's taking me out for dinner. I think it feels like a new era and a new decade.
Jazz,
it literally is a new decade.
Genuinely something so like light and glowy about you. Like you genuinely feel different in a way.
Yeah.
In like
so
a really
weird.
Beautiful way.
I don't know what it is.
Well, it's funny because you're going from your late 20s, like finishing a chapter, to becoming a baby again in like the new decade. Like you're the youngest 30-year-old out there.
You're the youngest person ever. That's how I feel too. Like 29, it's like crawling. And people are like, make the most of your 20s. Like you 1 year left. Lots of pressure. I felt like I was crawling to the finish line of something.
Yeah.
And this morning I've woken up and I'm like, I'm at the starting line. And like I feel like I'm more myself. I know what I want. I know what I'm going to put up with. And I have woken up feeling even more excited to like really go after my dream. It's like this is go time now. It's always been go time, but like it's really go time. I don't know.
I feel it. It's literally radiating off you.
Aww.
This is so nice.
So nice.
So
and I had a beautiful morning
Yes.
with my best friend Emma. She took me out for brekkie with her and her little baby. Had brekkie and a coffee. And then now I get to do this, which doesn't even feel like work. Like so nice. And yeah, we've got a fun day planned. So thank you for the warm messages. And I'm very lucky.
Yay. I can't stop beaming. It's like it's my birthday. But I'm so happy.
And we're both in our jumpers.
Cozy vibes.
It's so wintry here in Melbourne and I literally got drenched. If you're watching this on camera, I have a slick back today, which I never normally do because I got drenched on the way here. I forgot to pack my umbrella. It's in my other handbag. I just packed a brand new bag today. Winter vibes all around.
Yeah. I actually went back for my umbrella that I left at the bus stop because I'm quite attached to this umbrella. So like came to the studio all the way, then realized I forgot it, went halfway back to where I was. It was only an extra like 30-minute trip to do so, but I'm attached. And when you're umbrella-less, there's an umbrella-shaped hole in my heart.
But 30 minutes for an umbrella, that is commitment.
Thank you. And I realized, because I was going to be like, I'll just leave it because I lose things quite a lot. But I don't want to treat these things as like disposable or whatever. I do want to care for my items and I think it's good that I'm a bit attached to it because it shows I care and we don't have this throwaway culture. Even though, low-key, I bought this umbrella in Japan and while I was in Japan, I lost it. So this is the second one I've actually rebought. So
but
does that make sense?
It shows that you value it, which is
do.
so nice, especially for something as like menial as an umbrella. Yeah. One thing, side note about umbrellas. Okay.
Yeah.
Why have umbrellas not been updated in like
Wait.
100 years.
Wait, that's so funny because did you know that the small umbrellas, like the ones that like go sucking together, not just like the long ones, that was actually invented by an Australian woman.
Really?
It was a player watch. I can't tell you any more ideas, like things. Oh, and then secondly to that, I actually have more umbrella lore. When I was in China, the umbrellas there are so much smarter. They look the same, but it like kind of collects the water. Like it looks exactly the same, but it collects the water so it doesn't drip everywhere. And then you can kind of like pour it out kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why we don't have that here.
I just think like everything else in our life is like techified except for umbrellas.
Okay. So
I mean,
you want
else
an
do you
AI
need?
umbrella, babes?
AI, what's it going to do? Like whisper things in your ear like in the aquamarine starfish earrings or something? I don't know. It's just a thought.
Okay. We love that thought. Thank you for the umbrella tangent. First little pop culture tidbit of the day. Taylor Swift has written a song for Toy Story 5. How do we feel about this?
You and I cared so little that we didn't even send this to each other.
Why would we care? I would never fangirl about this.
Well, I think we care because we are Swifties.
Yes.
And it's pop culture. So we should care. But I just don't care.
My first thought was like, it feels so loudy. Sorry.
Why? I wonder why she's done, like, okay, creative license of like working with a beloved franchise.
Yes. And it is beloved.
It is very beloved. I think with all the talk around her at the moment of all the variants of her already Life of a Showgirl, it's an interesting move.
Yeah. To me, it just reads like it's a cheesy thing to do. But I do like the way that this story came about. Like when she announced this on Instagram, she said, it's a toy story. Like it's a love story. You knew it. My new original song, I Knew It, I Knew You, for Disney and Pixar's Toy Story 5 will be yours on June 5. I've always dreamed of getting to write for these characters who I've adored since I was 5 years old watching the first Toy Story movie. I fell instantly in love with Toy Story 5 when I was lucky enough to see it in its early stages, and I wrote this song as soon as I got home from the screening. Sometimes you just know, right? So it does feel kind of organic. At least that's what we're being told.
She wrote the song with longtime collaborator Jack Antonoff, and it's going to mark a return to the country genre, which I'm really excited about. I love country Taylor Swift. And it was inspired by Jessie, the cowgirl character. Controversial, though, because...
What? You could be like, Jessie the cowboy is MAGA. Like, we can't have anything these days.
No, controversial. It's for Jessie. Because in Toy Story 2, Jessie also has an original song
the best
called
song.
When She Loved Me by Sarah McLachlan. The saddest song. Well, I reckon it's like up there with like one of the saddest scenes of a children's movie. It's basically when Jessie's owner is like getting older and there's like a montage where she gets older and older and Jessie is like under the bed getting dust on her, and it's just so, and it's like such a beautiful, tragic song. So she's got some big cowgirl boots to fill with another Jessie original. I think it's going to be not as sad as When She Loved Me, but I think it's going to be a sadder song.
A little game, because this song will be out by the time this episode is out. We know it's called I Knew It, I Knew You. I think we should give it a shot.
Oh no.
How's it going to go?
I feel like it's going to be almost like a pop country ballad, not super tragic like When She Loved Me or So Long London or something, but kind of like I knew you, I knew all along that you were my friend or something. So do I have to sing it?
Yeah, I think we should just
Like
sing
the
the
trend?
title.
Okay, let's try. 'Cause I knew it, I knew you. Something like that vibe. Like upbeat, but like heartfelt lyrics.
Okay, I'm thinking way more chill, like, but like more Disney-ified, like theater kid almost, being like, I knew it, I knew you. No, let me do that again. A redo. Because it was pitchy. Like, what am I trying to say? Like something like, I'm dying, I got stage fright. Okay, one more time. I knew it, and I knew you.
Oh,
something like that.
I
Sorry,
see.
that was so bad. I promise I'm better.
I'm picturing like a high action like friendship scene where they're like, I don't know, running around, like having fun. But it's like, we're best friends and I love you so much. Like that vibe.
Okay, wait, I see a vision.
Yeah.
And stay tuned, we'll find out.
Should we put money on this on Toy Story 5? Phoebe Bridgers has been playing a string of phone-free pop-up shows across small cities and college towns across the US, playing both familiar and unreleased music.
I actually didn't know about this, and I think it's actually because they weren't allowed to record or take photos at the concerts.
There you go. Underground culture.
What broke through this, though, and what I did see this week was that she is putting on another phone-free show, but the tickets are only $1 and it's at Madison Square Garden.
Financially, how does that work? Like Madison Square Gardens is a massive venue, like one of the biggest music venues in New York.
So true. Like, is she covering the costs?
Like,
Is
and
the
she's so
venue-
indie vibes. Like,
Yeah.
she's not a Taylor Swift who could do that.
Well, I don't know, actually. That's a good I did not even think about that. What I do know about the tickets is that it's like a balloting process because obviously these tickets are in high demand. So it's randomly distributed, kind of like a marathon. And this concert will have actually happened by the time this episode has come out, but it's caused a lot of talk online, I think mainly because that it is completely phone free.
So proceeds from the tickets are actually going to go to the Community Justice Exchange Immigration Bond Freedom Fund. It's a long name, which helps secure the release of people from ICE detention while they navigate the legal proceedings. So very, very important cause in the US at the moment. And the event info says, per the artist's request, no recording devices will be allowed at the event, including but not limited to no cell phones, no cameras, no tablets, no laptops, no smartwatches, no Bluetooth-enabled headphones. Upon arrival, small devices will be secured in pouches that will be unlocked at the end of the event. We appreciate your cooperation in creating a device-free viewing experience. You experienced this recently. You spoke about it on TikTok as well at Audrey Hobart's Melbourne concert at the Forum.
Yes, at that concert, it was the last song of hers. She asked everybody to put away their phones. And this is something that she often does. So most people were doing it already before she announced it. And she does it with one of her biggest songs. But the thing is, she plays that song maybe 2 songs before that, and everyone's allowed to film it or whatever. And then she encores it without phones. And it was such a beautiful experience because I think people were just letting go, being present, really relishing in that moment rather than thinking about what it's going to look like on a camera. So when I hear about something like Phoebe Bridgers' concert, I'm like, that would be just such a lovely, wholesome experience and just so special because every concert is unique, one of a kind, but that feeling is amplified when you don't have any recording devices.
Yes. I also find that the culture of recording concerts can sometimes ruin it, especially when they're doing a world tour. The artist is doing a world tour. I purposely avoided Lady Gaga's Mayhem Ball videos when they would come up on my feed because I was like, I also don't look at set lists before shows because I'm like, I want to be in the moment. I want to be like, oh, what song's next? Or I know that I don't know where she's going to come out of the stage from or which dancers are dancing on stage at what time. Do you do that or are you more like a planner who's like, I want to see the set list?
No, I often don't see the set list and I like that kind of mystique. And I feel like that's what makes a concert special like this Phoebe Bridgers one. It's like an inner circle private club. If you've been, you know.
Yeah.
And that creates something so nice and intimate with her fans. She's also not the only artist that does this. There's actually so many that have previously. I want to focus on 2 examples from this year though. So Fred Again in London in February, staff placed a small black sticker with the show's location and date on it over fans' smartphones, camera lenses. So that's what we see in a lot of nightclubs in Europe as well, like Berghain do that, which is pretty cool.
Have you ever been to an event in Melbourne where they've done that?
No.
Because sometimes I've seen at event launches, people talking about oh, my camera got blacked out, but I've never been to one.
I've not
I think it's cool.
Not been cool enough. Harry Styles, also for his one night in Manchester in February, people got a disposable camera, which is cute, with 20 shots in it. And they also asked attendees to put their phones in a recyclable smart bag. These bags are so interesting because I've never used it, right? Because what happens, it still allows people to use their phones basic settings through the bag, but not their camera function. Isn't that so cool?
How does that work?
I don't know, some sort of tech stuff.
I haven't had a chance to watch One Night in Manchester yet. It's on Netflix, but I thought it was really cool that we didn't get to see any videos from the crowd. It was only like released on Netflix within like, was it a day or two of the concert actually happening. And I think people are just craving more of those experiences. Like people want to be told, which is what you said in your TikTok, right? Like people want to be told or like want an excuse to get off their phones.
It's almost you have to opt into this collective agreement that we are not going to be on our phones. Otherwise, because other people might argue you can just choose not to be on your phone at a concert, but you can still experience that FOMO. But once it's a collective agreement where you almost trusting one another, then it creates something special. To that point about Harry Styles and not watching the doco, I haven't seen it either. And I actually think this proves a point. We don't necessarily want to watch a concert being replayed on a screen. We want to be there. So it's so much more special to be at that concert.
Yes. I did not watch the Eras Tour
Neither.
Disney Plus show before I went to the show. I don't even know if I've watched it after because I'm like, I have such good memories of like actually being there. But understanding accessibility for people who might live regionally or who can't attend those concerts for various different reasons, I think there is a place for it as well.
For sure. Have you noticed that so many movies and TV shows have the same villain right now? In a piece titled Bogeyman of the Moment, Why Every TV Show Seems to Have the Same Villain for the Age, Michael Lallo makes a claim that AI is a villain we're all seeing everywhere right now.
Michael references the TV shows Hacks, The Comeback, Abbott Elementary, Rooster, Morning Wars, The Capture, and Paradise, and notes that they've all explored the potentially, quote, sinister consequences of this AI technology. Michael says some are lighthearted comedies, while others are political thrillers, but all of them are making a villain of AI.
I noticed this trend in kids' movies over the last 5 years that so many of them were focusing on robots and future and technology. Kind of what Wall-E was for our generation, I guess. There's a dozen new movies that are kind of tackling similar eco-climate anxiety as well as this tech AI stuff at the same time. Have you seen that?
Yeah, well, going back to Toy Story 5, the plot of the new Toy Story movie is that what do you even call them? Analog toys, like physical toys, are competing with electronics like iPads and video games. So I think that's interesting. That's being explored in the franchise, the Toy Story franchise.
So true. In this Age article, Michael pulls out these examples. So in Morning Wars, the character Stella Back is a media conglomerate CEO who embraces AI to stay ahead, but only for her lookalike chatbot to go rogue and destroy her reputation, lol. In Hacks, the superstar comedian Deborah Vance is tempted by a lucrative offer from a tech bro who wants to use her material and voice to train his AI program, but then she realizes that she doesn't want to do that.
I want to play the clip that is kind of going viral at the moment from Hacks, where the characters are talking to a AI tech CEO executive person and basically saying how people don't want it and that why they're trying to push it on us.
Yes.
AI is here and it's here to stay. So you either get on board or you get left in the past.
See, that is a big part of why I hate it. This forced inevitability. People like you are always saying that it's happening whether you like it or not, but you're the ones making it happen, okay? And you could easily stop it if people could say that they didn't want it, but you don't want to give people a choice. So you just say, oh, the train's already on the tracks, and you don't let people decide for themselves.
I think it's obvious why this content is out there. There's so much fatigue and fear around AI, especially from creatives. And when creatives are the ones creating these pieces of art, no wonder it's front of mind and no wonder they're essentially pushing a message of sorts.
In a way, I'm finding the fact that the villains in these TV shows and movies are AI as a good sign because it means that the people, the executives and the people in the writing rooms still have a voice and power to be kind of pushing against it and critiquing it.
Yes.
Whereas if it was there's only AI executives in the room and all the scripts are being written with AI, there wouldn't be that critique of it. So in a way, I'm this is good that TV and if people are watching it, there shows an appetite, people are agreeing with it, this Hacks thing going viral as well. I think that's a heartwarming sign to me that humans and creatives are pushing back against this tech.
I do wonder though that we feel it ourselves, the difference between like working in the staff room with like your peers versus the higher ups, the C-suites who actually don't care, right? They're there to make money. And often these are the people who are pushing AI, pushing big tech. So they get to potentially benefit financially from these, I guess, more progressive ideas, but they might not hold it, right? Or we can see two things happening at once where people are putting out content that is vehemently like anti-AI, but behind the scenes, we know the truth. Like the AI is being pushed more and more regularly, and oftentimes it's a reason for redundancies too.
Another AI conversation was brought up between you and I this week, which I think is so cool. We are seeing a wave of new art and creatives pushing for human-made art. And one producer, Adam Faze, shared on Twitter a really cool idea. He actually hosted a birthday party and told his friends to leave their phones at home, and he had a sketch artist come in for the night and like capture the scenes. The art was by Madeline Goddard, and we'll post it on socials so you can have a look yourself and link it in the show notes. But I thought it was such a fun and cute idea.
It's so sweet, and there's something very special about the works of art that have been created from these moments. I love seeing people really lean into skill building, right? Because these things take time. That's the whole point. That's why it's hard to do. Like that's why, drawing and creating, it doesn't just take an idea, which is what AI wants you to believe, but it actually takes you to practice, to spend time on it, to labor over it, to be bad at it, to then perhaps be good.
You posted a TikTok as well this week about hobby maxing. You went to a ballet class.
Yes. I actually feel very conflicted about that term. I've actually said in the past, at least internally, that I don't like the use of these like 4chan, manosphere terms and how they're being brought into the mainstream, like looks maxing, right? And I think I was doing it because I'm like, oh, hobby maxing, ha ha ha. But sorry, that was a very random tangent. But yes, I am wanting to embrace more hobbies this year.
You actually said to me, I think last week, that I should take up piano lessons.
Yes.
I did it when I was like 14 and then gave it up because I was more interested in boys. But
babes.
But you said that you think it would be really good for me. So I actually started Googling piano lessons the other night. I couldn't find any in my area. So many people were like, we'll come to you. But I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really digging on Google to like find a place that's like within a 5 kilometer, I guess, or maybe 10 kilometer radius of where I live so that I can go there and be like, on this night, doing piano lessons.
Yes.
But I do think it's nice to invest in something like that.
I can't wait for this for you because you're so musically inclined. You love music, and I personally love playing piano, and it's one of my favorite things to do. And I see this for you. So fingers crossed we find you a place.
Two Gen Z horror directors are the talk of the internet this month, creating conversations about a new era of filmmaking.
Yep. Backrooms and Obsession are topping box offices around the world and creating headlines for being directed by two Gen Zs. Famously, we aren't horror fans here at Culture Club, but we are fascinated by this shift and rise in popularity in horror movies.
It's almost making me watch these movies. I said to Laurie this week, I really want to watch these movies for like the cultural impact, but I'm scared. Will you watch with me? We'll see. Variety noted that the past weekend has created a tectonic shift in Hollywood that sent, quote, shockwaves across the industry, and that is Backrooms, which was produced for around $10 million and opened with $81 million. It's smashing records for A24, as well as Obsession, which was made with a budget of only $750,000, and it's grossed $26.4 million in its third weekend of release.
That's wild. I can't believe Obsession was created using under $1 million. Like, that's very unheard of for a Hollywood film.
It's actually smashing Star Wars, which is released its 7th movie this week, and it's tumbled 70% in its second weekend, and it's the lowest ever opening weekend for a Star Wars film under Disney. And I think that's why we want to talk about it too, is because these are two independent horror movies that are smashing the big studios.
Yeah. Let's first talk about Backrooms. I find this story so fascinating because it actually originated from the internet. This whole idea stemmed from a photo that was posted to 4chan. And it was this post of like a low-grade photo of like a slightly tilted yellowing office space. It just looks eerie, right? The prompt was like, show us an eerie space. From that, people started adding to the lore of this space. So this is a concept called creepypasta. Creepypasta is like a horror-related legend that's been shared around the internet.
Yeah, it's like Slender Man, who started as an internet lore and then has gone through different formats and gone into the mainstream as well.
Yeah. So back in 2022, the director of the movie Backrooms, Kane Parsons, was just a teenager. He was a teenage boy and he made a short film after seeing this pic. The YouTube video he uploaded is called The Backrooms Found Footage. It is incredible what he did. He made it in a month and in like 2 days, it hit millions and millions of views.
On YouTube.
Yes, on YouTube. It became a 20-episode web series and then it turned into what is this movie. When he was 16 years old, he was approached to make this film. What?
It's crazy. I saw, it's almost like a Barbenheimer moment of like Backrooms and Obsession. I did a bit of digging and I was like, Maggie, this guy is 20 years old. He was born in 2005.
I know.
It's cool. So I was like, that's also why I was like, I'm so intrigued by this.
Let's go into the actual plotline of this movie now. It follows Clark, who is a middle-aged, recently divorced man who owns a strip mall furniture outlet in California. One day, he's having like a sleepless night. He decides to explore the store's basement level showroom. And then he like slips through this wall like a ghost. Like a ghost. And he enters this like maze of a like wasteland. There's like beige carpets, molding yellow wallpaper. Just like, again, very eerie vibe. He explores. He even hires a team to help him explore it. And then he goes missing.
So his therapist, who's played by Renate Reinsve, enters the back room to try and find him, and it ends up trapped in this liminal space. So it's very much like sci-fi, thriller, psychological thriller moment. Meanwhile, Obsession is more of a supernatural kind of gory horror written and directed by 26-year-old Kari Barker. So Kari is also a YouTuber turned director, and Obsession is a new take on the classic, like, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, in this research, I learned a new phrase for me, monkey paw, which refers to a situation where a wish or desire is granted, but at like a terrible, ironic, or unintended cost.
So a little bit of background on Kari. He was 18 when he formed the sketch comedy group That's a Bad Idea with a New York Film Academy classmate. They then uploaded their videos to YouTube and TikTok. He also wrote a horror short, The Chair, that went viral on YouTube in 2023. It attracted 5.5 million views and a deal with T-Shop Productions. And this is where he pitched Obsession. So it is a similar trajectory of like young guys, creative, like creating their own stuff, putting it on a YouTube platform, getting found. Yes. And that's how they have gone on to make movies.
I actually love hearing this. I know it sounds a bit neoliberal, being like anyone can pursue their dreams if they just work hard enough, right? And I know that's not true, but it is freaking cool to see people get interested in something, get obsessed with it, learn skills, make things, and just like do the thing.
Yeah, no,
it sounds like girl boss of me, but like, yeah.
I agree. And obviously, like, there's a lot of privilege in this. Like, they're young, white American guys. But I think that's why I was so excited to talk about it as well. It's really refreshing, especially in an era where we are seeing, like, the gap between creative and working class people and the C-suite executives, like we were talking about earlier, widen and widen. It's harder to find that middle ground. I think it's a nice heartwarming story for like the film and culture industries.
It's true.
Let's talk about the plot of Obsession.
At our book club last week, we actually talked to a lot of our friends who went and saw it. They're big horror buffs, and we got them to explain the whole plot, like front to the end, because I love hearing the story, but it's very, very scary to actually watch.
I need to tell everybody as well. Our friends were like explaining the plot, And Maggie was like, don't, I'm so scared, stop. But then like they kept going. And at one point she turned to me and our friend Grace and she's like, guys, I literally have goosebumps, like just hearing the plot, let alone seeing any of it.
Yes, I'm an empath.
I know, you poor thing. So let's talk about it. So it follows the main character, Bear, who is suffering from some unrequited love and has intense feelings towards his childhood friend, Nikki. Nikki might be receptive to his feelings, but we never get to find out because Bear is too cowardly to tell her the truth. After visiting like kind of a woo-woo new age store, Bear picks up a gift called the One Wish Willow and makes a choice that instead of giving the gift to Nikki, he's going to snap it and wish that Nikki would love him, quote, more than anyone else in the world. The wish immediately begins, and from that moment on, Nikki is just madly in love with Bear, and then we realize that something is deeply wrong with Nikki.
Yeah, my introduction to this movie was like a TikTok clip of like her at the restaurant and it's just like, no. Like it's intense acting and it's so like not quite right. Like something's wrong, right? It's a bit uncanny valley. There's something so sinister about the way she's acting. Like it doesn't feel like almost human in a way. Big shout out to the actress who plays Nikki, Indy Navarrete. She's getting such high praise for her acting ability. Our audio producer in the room, Jaden, was saying that she was speaking in an interview talking about how she's done she incorporated some like hip hop, like almost like popping and locking as part of her physical manifestations of her acting. And I will say, again, not a spoiler, but our friends at book club were like, there's a scene where she's like scuttering around the room. And that has stayed with me. That's like the scariest part to me.
So why is horror so popular at the moment?
I will say boyfriend Tom has always had this hypothesis that what comedy movies were to Gen X's, horror movies are to Gen Z's. One of the theories he posits is that like at some certain time, Hollywood had really just stopped making the comedy movies that they made in like the 90s, early 2000s. Like think about Adam Sandler movies, right? That kind of fell off the track.
Even the 2010s, like Superbad, 22 Jump Street, like they are golden era comedies.
So why do we think it switched?
I think society's switch. I think it's like a post-pandemic thing. I think it's so interesting that Kane is exploring liminal space, getting lost, the world kind of being turned upside down when he was, in peak adolescent development during COVID.
This reminds me of an ABC article I read. This is from a few years back, but it talks about this. So one, horror has always been primarily aimed at young people, but you're right, these past few years, things have felt differently. In the article, the writer interviews like a horror critic and filmmaker who's, Gen Z, and they were literally like, being born post 9/11 in a world where we've never really been necessarily safe, I think can cause a lot of anxiety. And then this person who lives in America was like, yeah, I literally grew up thinking that school shootings, like it could happen to me any day, right?
Well, Gen Z are called doomers, right? So I think this is a manifestation of the world that they grew up in.
Yeah. Weirdly, though, in the piece, they referred to this peer-reviewed research published back in 2021, and it actually said that horror fans exhibited less psychological distress during the pandemic. So it's almost like a prepping thing, right? Like you're preparing yourself to deal with like the worst things ever in terms of like watching horror movies that maybe you're more well equipped to deal with your actual life. Your jaw's open. You're like,
I'm like, wait. Well, because that's why I don't like horror movies, because I think I don't want to be stressed. Yeah. I don't want to be like, feel fear, feel scared, have adrenaline running through my body when I'm supposed to be like relaxing or consuming something or switching off. I don't enjoy it. I try to push myself. I think being married to Laurie, who's a huge movie fan, has helped expand my horizons of movies. That's really interesting that horror fans experience less psychological distress during the pandemic.
Yeah. Also in the study, people described as, quote, morbidly curious were more resilient in general. And I think I understand why. Because you're right, we live in such a chaotic, scary time. But when somebody chooses themselves and like has control and chooses to opt in to watch a horror movie, you have some semblance of power and control there, right? Whereas the real world feels chaotic and like you don't have a choice to opt in.
I was getting some commentary on Twitter this week from fans of the genre, and some users were saying a lot of movies right now are about dealing with distorted reality or not believing what you're seeing. Backrooms, Obsession, Iron Lung. Wonder what could possibly be going on in the zeitgeist that has people feeling like they can't trust what they're seeing. Another said, having seen both films, I noticed they both tackle themes of loneliness, which is increasingly relevant in a post-COVID, social media saturated world. The success of both of them says a lot about what the younger generation is feeling.
There's something powerful, I think, about seeing your biggest emotions, your biggest fears on a screen that you are watching with other people. I feel like that shows like you are not alone in feeling like this way or this scared. There's something quite human about that experience.
Another reason that horror could be so popular at the moment is its budget constraints. So movies like comedies or dramas can cost more, but when you have these like lo-fi indie YouTube creators who can make something out of essentially nothing, then that is another reason why there's like more of them being made. Basically, a cost of living crisis in the film industry. So in the article, To YouTube and Beyond, How Online Gen Z Directors Stormed Hollywood by Jessie for The Guardian, they say that, quote, for a while, the more whimsical or irreverent superhero movies served as a comedy substitute. Now, horror and comedy, natural bedfellows in their desire to produce a visceral reaction, are sharing that space, and horror has often thrived with up-and-coming voices from outside the Hollywood system with its less risky budgets. Also in an article for Variety, Why YouTubers Are Turning Hollywood Upside Down by Marlo Stern, they interview the co-producer of Backrooms, James Wan, who's also the man behind some other incredible low budget that have turned into amazing franchise horror films, Saw, Insidious, Conjuring, and the Megan franchises. He told Variety, quote, the YouTube generation has finally come of age. They grew up creating their own content with no money, and just by being as creative as possible, this spirit ends up fostering a new wave of filmmakers and storytellers.
He continues, every generation, we see young people shoot and experiment with short films, but the big advantage today's generation has is technology right at their fingertips. As you can tell by this segment, there's a lot to talk about with horror, and despite the fact that we haven't seen these films, we're so keenly invested and interested. I actually think we have to bite the bullet and see one of them. I think let's do it.
Okay, let's challenge ourselves and we'll report back to the podcast when we watch them.
Yeah.
But I'm watching it with my husband.
I think I can watch Backrooms. You can take Obsession.
No, I wanted Backrooms.
I actually want to see Obsession more, but I'm too scared.
Okay, I'll try both.
Okay.
Brave.
We'll report back.
It's now time for Bookmarked, where we share something we've loved watching, reading, or listening to this week. What do you have for us?
I'm switching things up with a music recommendation, which I rarely do, but I want to shout out a deluxe album release that I have been putting on repeat a lot recently, and that is Teen Jesus and the Gene Teasers' Glory album.
Wait, did you say that right?
Yeah, it's Teen Jesus and the Gene Teasers.
That's such a hard name.
Oh, have you not heard of them?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
But can you say it again?
Of course. So the band is called And the band is called Teen Jesus and the Gene Teasers. Okay,
Yeah.
like a fun play on words. And the album is called Glory, and it's the deluxe release I'm talking about. So I love this band. They're Australian. I've listened to them on and off for a few years, and I've seen them at festivals. They're made up of women and non-binary people. There's 4 of them. They're so cool, and they're very fun. It's like pop punk, very Aussie. And their deluxe release is great. There's a few new singles, but they also released a few stripped back versions of their songs. I think my favorite song, again, it's not new, but I've been loving it, is Daylight. And I feel like it's a great like early 2000s rom-com movie moment vibe. Like that's where I'm seeing it. So that's my rec for the week.
Cute. I've heard of them, seen them around, but have never really listened.
I will say, when I played them in the car for us in Cook Island, you were like, whoa, they sound so Aussie.
Yeah, I think just the accents.
Yes. So like,
that's not a bad thing though.
no.
But
you
sometimes
have
I find it funny when you can hear like
I love it.
the really thick Australian
I
accent.
love it. What is your recommendation for the week?
I'm kind of doing a backwards recommendation because the only things I've been consuming have been finishing season 2 of The Pit and watching Rivals, which I already recommended. So this weekend, Laurie and I are going away to the country for my birthday weekend.
Yay.
We are spending 3 days in a cabin. There's a fireplace. There's a bath. There's DVDs.
Perfect.
Barely any reception. I was like, this is all I freaking want. And as a birthday treat to myself, I went to the bookstore and I bought 3 brand new books, which felt like such a luxury to buy. And I have a little list. So the first book that I bought for this weekend is Tillinghast, which is by Claire Kavanagh. It's a very wintry book, which is what I wanted. It's actually inspired by the real events of the New England vampire panic of the 19th century. So it is like a vampire novel and is described as a atmospheric horror that turns like the vampire monster narrative on its head. So it's basically a vampire literary fiction novel, which sounds right up my alley. And the other 2 that I am bringing is Strangers by Belle Burden, which we briefly talked about in another episode. It's the memoir of marriage, about Belle's actual marriage that broke down, and it circles love, privilege, wealth. It's definitely a book that everyone's talking about. And I also bought Yesteryear by Cara Claire Burke. So I definitely went with the more like, these are the hottest books of the year, but I was getting FOMO and I hadn't bought them yet. So why not use your birthday? Yesteryear tells the story of an American tradwife influencer who wakes up in 1855. And I've heard you either love it or you hate it, except for one colleague who was like, I didn't mind it. Like everyone else has been like, it was the best book of the year, or like, I didn't get it. But I think that's what happens when there's so much hype around something, like great expectations are put on it. So I will report back next episode with a rec of like which one was my, showed you like my favorite.
I love that, but you're giving yourself like a week timeline. That's pretty tight.
I plan on reading definitely one of them.
Oh, exciting.
Front to back. Someone I know read Strangers in one sitting, so I think it's easy to lap up because it's a nonfiction as well. So I'm betting Strangers I'll do in one sitting.
Good. Okay. Well, I look forward to seeing what you come back to us with. Thank you so much, listeners, for joining us on another episode of Culture Club. We loved having you here.
If you enjoyed this episode, maybe share it with a friend, share it on your Instagram story, and maybe even give us a little rate and review on Apple or Spotify. We really, really appreciate it. Bye.